You're listening to the groundbreaking community stream. Hi, this is Q Live and Direct from Delhi. I'm stoked to welcome you all to the episode 10 of the stream. Thanks to all the people who's been listening and supporting the podcast. If you have any feedback or something you'd like to contribute, y'all can let me know and write me a mail mentioned in the podcast description. For today's episode, we have Akshay Pardeshi, who is currently working as a motorcycle designer at Ducati, based in Bologna, Italy. He's a great friend and a champion of a designer who always setting trends with his unique design approach and thinking. Welcome to the stream, Pardeshi. What's up?
Hi Q, what's up? What's up? I'm good. How are you? How is it going? It's been a long time since we've spoken about design.
Yes, it's been a few years, I think. It's a Monday for whoever is listening. How was your Monday? You definitely look tired.
Yeah, Monday is usually a bit difficult because we get back from a good weekend, so it's sort of a difficult situation for us to get back to work. But yeah, it's been a good Monday because I was working a lot and things are getting better. So
yeah, I hope you also had a kind of a chill weekend since you're in Italy. How's the scene like?
I had a very chill weekend. I had friends over. So I was playing some music and we had a little things to do after that.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of your gigs you've been sharing on Instagram. So yeah, let's talk about it. To start with, let's just talk about your career trajectory, like about what was your state of mind when you were in school and kind of wanted to go to design. Did you have any idea about motorcycle design when you were in school?
So for sure, as a kid, I didn't have any idea about motorcycle design as such.
Yeah.
But I knew that I wanted to. Actually, I didn't know that I wanted to be in this industry. I just knew that I like motorcycles and cars.
Yeah.
In general. But eventually, when I got into my, let's say, 10th standard, that's when I realized that I have to get into a college where I can understand physics, so that I get into an engineering college.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to work as a as a person who is somewhere around the automotive industry. So at the beginning, I didn't know that there was a thing called as automotive engineering. So I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. I was trying to get into that. I wanted some marks, and I was very bad at it. And as a kid, I was kicked out of my school in 9th standard. Then I appeared for my 10th externally because none of.
How did it impact?
It was very cool back then for me because I was a rebel. So 10th was I appeared my 10th externally. Definitely it was a little trouble for me at home. Once I got out of my apartment, it was completely okay because I was a rebel. All my friends liked me because I was that. So school was a little difficult. I passed my 10th standard. That's when I thought that I have to get into a college where I can learn science, learn physics, so that I get into mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
Eventually, I got to know this thing called as automotive engineering, and that's when I thought that I have to work hard towards it. Then finally, again, things were bad for me in my 12th standard. I was bad in studies. I was very good in physics, but I was bad at everything apart from physics. Yeah. I kept failing. And in 12th standard, I got really less marks. So that was one reason I couldn't get into any of these engineering colleges.
Yeah.
But that's when one of my friends and most of my teachers used to tell me that you have to get into a field where you can be creative, because they saw that I used, even in my classes or even during exams, when I didn't know what I have to write, when I didn't know the answers, I used to sketch, and I used to sketch motorcycles.
Wow.
that's when these teachers and my friends told me that why don't you get into a field where you can be creative. So my first let's say my first direction that I wanted to take was architecture, but later I realized that it's not creative. And one of my friends told me that I have to get into this college called as DSK, which was pretty new back then.
Yeah.
I think it lasted only for 7 years when I joined. I appeared for the exam. Finally, I got into it. But again, the biggest trouble that I had was my first question to the university was, will my admission be valid if I fail my 12th standard? That's when that's when
That's where they
people from
realized that,
DSK.
you were the person that they needed.
Yeah, I think so, because the answer that they gave me was okay. So they said that I was eighth amongst the overall selection. So
Wow.
they are ready for me to appear in October externally, but I can start with my DSK courses. So my schooling has been a little troublesome, but whatever I am, I think it's because of the experiences that I had as a kid. I have a lot of memories about those things. So yeah. I'm happy with whatever happened as a kid. So no grudges, no problem.
So how did it hit you, like going to a design going to a design school where your maybe school was not your best friend back then? Did it kind of question you that, okay, was it actually for you, or something maybe you didn't sign up for? How was your initial feeling when you were diving into design?
So my initial feeling when I got into design, let's say my first year at DSK, was very surprising. The fact that I didn't have any books, I was very happy with it. I just had one sketchbook when I got into the college, and that sketchbook was with me since I was in school. So that was one thing that I always had around me, even if I was going on vacation with my cousins and things like that. So when I got into DSK, it was fun. At least for a year, I was getting fascinated every day.
Yeah.
Because the courses that we had were very, very amazing.
Yeah.
Each day I used to get very fascinated. And that's when I thought that maybe this was something that was lacking in my life. Because as a kid, I was very aggressive. I could snap at anything. Yeah. And I think when I got into DSK, that's when I realized that maybe I was not getting time to express myself, or a proper channel to express myself. When I got into this college, I think I could express myself with anything. I could talk about things that I felt, and I could sketch. I could sketch without getting scared that I won't get marks, because I was getting marks for my sketching.
Yeah.
So yeah, that after getting into this college, I think it was a piece of cake, because I didn't have to put in efforts to do anything that my teachers were asking me to do.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely very rare, Akshay. I think like considering the kind of environment you had, as I was also studied in the same college, it could be definitely intimidating for a lot of us, and it was for me. So when you say that it was not maybe as tough on you, is also because of the reason you were so passionate about it. So in initial years, in your foundation years, you've realized that, okay, you wanted to be a motorcycle designer or an industrial designer?
In my initial years, I think I was okay with being in that college. So I sketched everything.
Yeah.
So whatever I sketched, I wanted to be that for that day. So
Yeah.
if one day I was sketching an Alfa Romeo, I wanted to be a designer in Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
But eventually, when I started experiencing motorcycles, because when I got into this college, I was young, and in India, till you are 18, my parents were very strict about these things. Yeah. I didn't get a motorcycle till I was 18. But when I started experiencing motorcycles, that's when I started loving motorcycles. And I think after a year's time, I just didn't do anything apart from sketching motorcycles or being around motorcycles.
Wow.
And that's when I realized that I have to be in this industry. I remember days when my teachers used to be a bit annoyed because I didn't do anything apart from motorcycles. I didn't sketch cars. I didn't do most of the assignments because it didn't have motorcycles.
Yeah.
But initially my face was like that. So after a year's time, I think I knew that I want to be in this industry. And yeah, that's it.
So, yeah, when you definitely make it sound pretty smooth. So I'm sure you must have some kind of struggles, right? Right, while you were kind of figuring out and working towards it.
Well, struggles, if you're talking about struggles, getting into this college and following the pattern and the study pattern of DSK was pretty simple for me. But then uh, being around smart people was a little difficult. So
Yeah.
when I got into this college, I was a troublemaker.
Yeah.
And then I got into this college where everyone was performing, even in school, even in preschool, and they were already very smart than me.
Yeah.
That was a little bit of an issue for me, because whenever we had presentations, whenever we had something that we had to talk in front of people, I was a little shy, maybe, or I thought that I was not that good enough.
Yeah.
So that patch was a little difficult for me. So this was one of the biggest struggle that I faced till my third year.
Yeah.
Till my third year, till the time I got my first internship.
Yeah.
Because till that time, I thought that I was not good enough, but I was having fun.
Yeah.
So the fact that I was having fun, I was happy to stick around in this college. But yeah, this was the biggest struggle that I had.
How did you overcome
around smart people?
Yeah, how did you kind of overcome it? They became friends, and also you got better, of course.
Yeah, I mean, the people that I had in my batch, I think these people helped me out a lot.
Yeah.
Guys like Abu, Swati, Mario, Akshay Biyani, these guys were, I mean, they were hardcore. So whatever they did, they were good at it. And I think being around these people, first of all, I wanted to be a little better disciplined.
Yeah.
I learned discipline from guys like Sainath, guys like Mario.
Yeah.
With Abu, I think the way he expresses himself is something amazing.
Yeah.
The way Akshay started his career. So he didn't know anything about motorcycles, but he learned everything. And I think that he's one of the good guys in the industry right now. So yeah, whatever I have become, I think it's because of the competition that I had around me.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to lose out on an opportunity. And these guys were good competitions. So yeah, I think all of this happened because of these guys around me.
Yeah. When you say competitions, the better part is that you kind of pick good things out of all of these people, because they were your friends. And definitely I can be advocate for whatever you've said. The names you've mentioned have definitely inspired me too, and a lot of us, because all of these people were like consistently working and kind of giving us juniors really good benchmarks towards what we'd like to do. So definitely all this bunch was definitely an inspiration.
Sure.
You talking about your first internship, it was in a really interesting brand, was MZ, if I'm calling it right, MZ Motorrad, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
About it? It's a really interesting story as far as I remember.
Yeah, it is a very interesting story, and it is a very interesting place to work at or to start your internship. So yeah, in my third year, I had done one project. No, actually, no. So one of our seniors was working at MZ Motorrad as an intern, and after that,
where was it based though?
So when one of my seniors were working at MZ Motorrad, it was at the headquarters in Germany, East Germany. And the story of this company is very amazing because MZ Motorrad was a part of the Auto Union. So Auto Union comprised of MZ Motorrad, current day Audi, and two other companies like that. So these four companies were one of the biggest companies of that time in Europe.
Wow.
And MZ Motorrad was let's say, one of the richest brand, I think, if I'm not wrong. But so this was in east side of Germany. But when in 1993 or whenever the Berlin Wall was taken off,
Yeah.
there was a lot of competition from the west side of the Germany.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of competition, and the company couldn't survive. So the company was almost about to file for a bankruptcy, and that's when I got this internship. But the problem was, I got this internship not in Germany. I was supposed to start my internship in America. So that's how I got this internship. And again, the internship was so amazing that I got one of the most important projects for the brand, and I was directly reporting to the CEO. And it was sort of an revival project for them, so that they get back to their hardcore work of making motorcycles. But sadly, they couldn't deal with it, and they went bankrupt. Yeah, so that was my first internship. I completed my internship in New York. That was my first time traveling abroad.
I was just about to ask
a
you that
small
question.
yeah, I was literally small. I wouldn't say that I was young. I was small. Size wise, I was small, skinny,
Yeah.
living at Wall Street, and it was like a dream come true.
Yeah.
But then I also managed to make prototypes and get things tested out and see my design for the first time in 1:1 scale, which was working, which was amazing. So yeah, that was my first internship.
As you said that was the first time you kind of went out for internship. When you were looking for internships and you were on your internship quest, what was the key pointers or maybe key brands you were looking for? What was MZ was in your top 5 list or something like that, or you maybe knew them? And how did you got that opportunity?
So no, MZ was not in my list.
Yeah.
And I actually had 3 lists with me. So first was must have, should have, and nice to have. So must have, I had companies which were not that big.
Yeah.
And I would learn a lot from those companies.
Yeah.
At the end, I wanted to make motorcycles, and there aren't a lot of companies that make design motorcycles, and not a lot of design studios that make motorcycles.
Yeah.
So I had these categories. MZ and most of the other brands that I got in touch with later in life were in my nice to have list.
Yeah.
So I never thought of getting in touch with these companies, and I never sent my portfolio because I was not that convinced that my work is good enough.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure that whenever I send my portfolio to these companies, I should get it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be in their waiting list. So talking about this, MZ was not in my let's say the list that I sent my portfolios to.
Do you think that was a good approach? The way you were applying? That's definitely that definitely sounds very badass and kind of not. I don't think if everyone have that state of mind to kind of take a decision like that, which is really brave to be.
No, actually, it's not that badass, because you have to make sure that you don't make a bad impression in a company.
Yeah.
If you know that you can have that internship later in life or job later in life in that company, if you think that you can get it later, I think you have to wait and apply to that company later in life. But it's always better to know where you stand,
Yeah.
and where you have to send. So that was one reason that I did a lot of work in Pune itself. I sketched commodes. I was designing commodes. I was designing bicycles. I was designing shoes and whatnot. That was not because I couldn't sketch motorcycles in some small studios. That was because I was aiming for the big studios.
Yeah.
Where I can sketch motorcycles. I think that it's not badass. It's just that you understand where you stand at the moment, and then you can plan your next step.
Yeah, I think this is where self awareness comes to play, right? Where we kind of don't have any idea if we are, as you said, if you are good enough or not. Were you taking feedbacks when you were kind of realizing and self-reflecting on your work that you
Oh
maybe,
yes, definitely.
and maybe that's
I
also
was
the
taking
main reason, right? You were in that.
that was one of the main reasons that I knew where I stand.
Yeah.
So especially with all my colleagues, my mates from my batch,
Yeah.
they were very critical about uh, everyone's work.
Yeah.
So so they were not good critiques; they were funny critiques.
Yeah.
So if you fuck up somewhere,
Yeah.
they made sure that you feel it, but you don't get sad about it. So
Yeah.
if something goes wrong,
Yeah.
they will make fun of your work in a way that you also start laughing at your own work,
That
and that
actually
was a
very
very
healthy
good
though.
way.
Yeah.
That is very healthy. So that's how I knew where I stood.
Yeah.
And also I remember one of my friend. I was really into music, and
Yeah.
so what I used to do is I used to sketch, or I used to render. I used to do a lot of things, but besides that, I used to play music also. So
Yeah.
while I'm sketching, I used to think, after this song, I have to play this song. So I used to start DJing right next to the synth.
Yeah.
Or after 15-20 minutes, that render is gone. I was with my computer playing music. So that's how it started. And one of my friends told me that if you want to be good amongst us, stop that. Don't do anything. If you want to take rest, just go back to your computer later at night, but work in your lab. That was one thing that I learned from one of my friend, and I stopped DJing after that. And I think that happened when I was in my second year, I think, and third year I landed the internship that I wanted. So
Wow.
I think it worked.
Yeah. And was it your
Yeah.
friend or some trainer?
No, 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 no. It was Mario Mascarenas.
Yeah, I can imagine
So
doing that, saying that.
yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah.
From your journey, you mentioned that you were kind of passionate about it, and you never kind of felt a way where you were kind of confused about, okay, if you're maybe doing it enough, or maybe spending enough time to get where you want, or you were getting results in small periods of time, right?
Yes and no. I think yes. I didn't understand if I was doing or if I was delivering at my max.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes I felt that whatever I was doing, it was working for one exam or one submission, and it was working for the next submission. And I think this was because I didn't develop my own style during that time. So
Yeah.
some things that I managed to do was working, let's say, for a month or so, but everyone was improving.
So as you mentioned from your experiences and till this time, that you were kind of passionate about what you were doing, so it was kind of easy for you, uh, and through, like, kind of throughout this time where you were in maybe foundation and going through your first internship, how were you kind of keeping sure that you were maybe spending enough time on your skills, or were you even sure that, okay, in order to maybe crack this place, you need to work that harder, or you kind of realize it a little later?
Okay, so since beginning, when I got into this college, let's say after a year's time, I knew that I had to do a lot of things to get at par with my colleagues or my batchmates.
Yeah.
I was a day scholar. I used to live in the city, and then I used to travel every day to the college. So at the beginning, I used to be at college at 9 in the morning, and I used to leave by 6.
Yeah.
Later, I used to be in college at 9, and I used to leave at 12 when college was when they used to lock the building. They
Yeah.
used to lock ISD. I used to sneak into the hostel room.
Wow.
I used to do my assignments over there,
Yeah.
and then I used to get back to college at 9 in the morning.
Wow.
This happened because I knew that I was not that good enough, and I put in a lot of efforts. So this is what I tell everyone that I meet, especially young kids, or wherever I do, let's say, master classes, or if I interact with young designers, aspirants. I say that even if you're not working as a designer, even if you're not sketching, just be around people who are sketching
Yeah.
or people who are designing, so that you hear about design, you understand how people think. And these were a few things that I was doing when I was in college. So this was my struggle. Even after being with, uh, let's say, even after being in Pune,
Yeah.
I was not with my parents. I was not with my family. So since I think I was 18, I was never with my family. I never spoke to my parents for, let's say, 2 or 3 months straight, because I used to come at 2 or 3 in the morning,
Yeah.
and I used to leave by 7. So I used to come to make sure that I give my clothes to wash
Yeah.
and take the next batch to go back to college. I remember once I was there for 45 minutes. I gave my bag, I took a new bag, and I left. So this is how I used to. So this was a few things that I used to do as a kid in college. That was my struggle.
Yeah.
उससे ज्यादा कुछ नहीं.
I'm sure that was definitely intense for you, and kind of made it a little harder for you. But again, you were not realizing all of these things because you were passionate enough to kind of dive into it fully. How was your first internship? The kind of in a way that it changed you as a designer, as or as a person. Was it the cultural shift you got, or the people you've met? What was your state of mind when you kind of came back from this really nice internship you had?
My first internship was it was wonderful because again it was in America, in a good company which had a lot of history, heritage, things like that. But it was a very huge. It had a very huge impact because till that time I thought that I can sketch anything and it'll be done.
Yeah.
But after that, after the internship, I understood that even a small radius will make a huge impact on the design and on the product and the pricing and things like that. And that comes later in life. You first of all you have to make sure that your shareholders or your investors should invest in your design. So this was one of my learnings from the first internship, that sketching something cool is not good enough. You have to give a proper reason for each and everything.
Yeah.
So this was one of the things that I think that I've learned from my first internship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since we are talking about getting internships and kind of trying ourselves into the real design world, I just want to ask you a question about why some good designers are not able to get good internships, or vice versa. What do you think? What are they lacking behind when they are applying for when maybe good designers are applying for posts they deserve, or other way around?
So that's a very good question, because so this is something that I learned from one of my teachers in college, and he always said that it doesn't matter if you're good. You have to make sure that you have a good enough portfolio. So that means that you have to sell yourself.
Yeah.
So when you sell yourself, you have to sell right from the beginning. You have to make sure that your sketches are good, which all of us try to do. Then you have to make sure that your portfolio is good, which all of us try to do. But even if all of the good guys manage to get a good portfolio and good sketches and things like that, you have to sell yourself in the interview.
Yeah.
You have to sell yourself after you have done your, let's say, your job as a designer, sketching, rendering, and whatnot. You have to sell yourself as a designer to a company where, if I'm applying for an internship, an intern is not someone who will, I mean, an intern is also very important for the company because the company is paying. So if the company is paying, you have to deliver.
Yeah.
But when a person is applying for an internship, at the same time, there are junior designers applying for that same job and senior designers applying for the same job. So, so these things are very important. So you have to sell yourself, because at this you're competing with junior designers as an intern. If you're applying, you're competing with junior designers and senior designers. If you can't sell yourself, you won't get the job.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. So good guys are good in college.
Yeah.
And after you are done with your good job, you have to make sure that you sell yourself. And this is something that happens once you understand design, or maybe you understand the area that you're working in, because you should be comfortable to talk about the industry, and you should be aware about things happening around the industry, economics, or let's say import and export duty, and understand the business of design.
Yeah.
And this is how you can crack an internship or things like that.
And also, what
So
do you
this is one reason.
yeah, what do you think makes you distinctive when you kind of sitting in that interview, in that interview where you wanna just crack it up, and how do you think you can get better at it?
uh, One thing that makes sure that you are distinctive in the interview. So I am I have a very short stint as a professional designer. So this is my experience.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, or maybe I might have understood these things in a different manner. But from what I understand, first you have to be passionate, and that passion should be seen in your portfolio. Because a lot of people will say a lot of things, but they can't see the passion on paper or on the portfolio. So
Yeah.
that is one thing. So you have to be honest with whatever skills you have and whatever passion you have. They should tally back to your portfolio. Ki, haan, theek hai.
Yeah.
If this guy has said all these things, they can see it in the portfolio. So that is one. Second thing is understanding business. Uh, let's say a scooter making brand will not make a super bike.
Yeah.
Just because you like that brand, you shouldn't start making motorcycle like a super bike for that scooter company. And final thing is understand, for especially for us motorcycle designers, we have to understand the technical bits of the machine, how things work, how it impacts manufacturing processes. And all of this is a circle. So if you understand manufacturing processes and things like that, technical bits, it goes back to economics.
Yeah.
Then you can understand the pricing. Then you can understand all these things. So it's a proper circle. So economics, having proper skills, because if you have proper skills, you can make sure that you can sketch those things out and explain the engineers.
Yeah.
So it's a proper circle: economics, understanding the technical bits, and having a proper portfolio where you can express yourself as a designer. Because you can talk a lot, if you can't sketch those things out on paper, it will be a bit of an issue for a non-designer
Yeah.
to hire you.
Yeah. Wow.
So this is yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think if you hit all these areas to the max,
yeah.
you will land a good internship or a job.
And
It's a bit difficult, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure throughout the process you also kind of have to take feedbacks from right people, right? Also, that is also very important, I think, which I've learned maybe a little later in my college. Yeah, I mean, while now again, talking about your timeline of your career, you kind of cracked that maybe you kind of had that moment where you've tried yourself into the motorcycle design industry. What kind of projects you were doing later when you were maybe going into the later part of your college? Were you just biased towards motorcycles, or what were your or maybe you were aware enough to have goals for your maybe fifth year, or maybe that later part of your professional career, or you just kept with the same pace?
Actually, no. I remember, like I said earlier, that after first year, I was just sketching motorcycles and I wasn't doing anything else.
Wow.
Like any other young designer, everyone wants to design a supercar or a super bike, and I was doing the same. But later, one of my teachers told me that if I want to design motorcycles, I have to design something else also.
Yeah.
That's when I forced myself to get into understanding other products in life. So I designed bicycles, I designed rickshaws, I designed vegetable vendors wala cart.
I remember
So I
that.
used to do all these things. So I used to design all these products, again, I used to freelance a lot when I was in college. But luckily enough, I got a chance to work with one of the big Italian studios when I was in India as a student. I was designing commodes for them, like I said earlier. I was designing kitchen appliances. I was designing bathroom wala
Yeah.
taps and things like that.
Yeah.
So I was doing all these things. So to answer your question, apart from motorcycles at that point of time was my personal project.
Yeah.
So I used to do everything apart from motorcycles for the university, and personal project. I used to do a lot of motorcycles and super bikes and uh, small motorcycles for Bajaj back then.
Yeah.
Electric, yeah.
I
So
also remember that you kind of made a, prototype also for a scooter or something.
oh
You
yes,
were definitely
oh
into a
yes,
lot of modification and stuff. And I
oh
clearly
yes.
remember that scooter you made, which was so crazy. Well,
I remember. So this is one thing that I really miss doing right now.
yeah,
Uh, I really love two-stroke engines.
yeah,
And I remember I used to come on a Bajaj Chetak to my in my first year.
yeah.
I used to do a lot of wheelies on that. I remember I burnt the scooter once, so there was a lot of smoke coming up
For real,
from the engine.
like the
For
whole,
real, for real,
like the
for
whole
real.
thing.
Because I was, so we
Maybe
were
I
trying
wasn't
to.
there at
I
that
was
time.
trying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this happened for real. I was racing with one of the guys from my batch. We had gone to this place called as Ramdhara,
Yeah,
and on the highway, I am racing with a motorcycle guy, downshifting when I shouldn't.
yeah,
While coming back, one of my friend, he was sitting right behind me, and he saw that there's a lot of smoke.
yeah.
We came back to college. My brakes weren't working. I
Yeah.
took a proper U-turn. Yeah, I took a U-turn from the quadrangle, parked my vehicle. I was happy that I was first. Later, I realized that the scooter was on fire. The security was running for a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
And yeah, so two-stroke scooter, Bajaj Chetak. Then I got the kinetic Honda. I
Yeah.
tried to modify that. Tried to understand how expansion chambers work. So I used to sit with the mechanics and weld with them and do all these things. Then I had a RX 100. I had four RX 100. So yeah, two-stroke vehicles were my love. They are still my love.
I'm sure definitely all of this helped you also to become a better designer, especially motorcycle designer, right?
I hope so. I can't say that for myself.
Yeah,
I
I
hope
can
so.
see that. I think the like right, definitely it has impacted you in a lot of ways. So yeah, I remember if I'm remember correctly, you also got into one of the biggest German brands, and you couldn't go there because of some reason. You want to talk about it, or
Oh yes, I can talk about it. I like I said earlier, I had three lists: must have, should have, and nice to have.
yeah,
So this list had a lot of different companies, and in nice to have there was this company.
yeah,
But I thought, ki, fuck it, I will never land this job or
yeah,
in this internship.
yeah,
So let's send it and let's check if I get a response from there. That's when I got a written response from one of the big guys out there. And yeah, I was surprised that I got this internship. And within, let's say, a month or so, without doing anything at that point of time, so in this company there were tests. So so in big companies like these there are multiple portfolios that go.
yeah.
And in a month's time I got a reply from them that I have landed this internship, and they'll host me, or they'll get me there for a period of 6 months,
Yeah.
which later uh, turned to be 9 months. So I was very excited.
Wow.
But then, because of certain things in our education system in India,
Yeah.
because our college was a French university, and then they were not affiliated to any of the Indian universities,
Yeah.
I didn't get my visa. And yeah, I was pretty devastated. I remember I was crying back then. I because the fact that, like I said, that I was not that good enough in school. And this was the only time that my parents would know that I am doing something good. So I
Yeah.
was very excited. When I didn't have this, I started crying to my grandmother and my mom. And I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to do a lot of drama. Like all of a sudden, when my parents asked me, what happened about this internship? Did you get a reply? I started bawling out.
Yeah.
But then I just decided, fuck it.
Yeah.
I have to work. So yeah, after that, I did my internship in India, in Pune.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think I think I've also we've also talked about in our previous episodes how it is so unfair for us Indians to kind of first get that competitive job out there and then not able to get the visas to kind of go there and work, which definitely can be very devastating and disturbing. How did you kind of react to it? Do you think it was unfair to you at that time, or maybe it opened maybe if you look back, do you think it should have given you maybe a different spectrum to kind of
It's not
like.
unfair, but I don't think that it's unfair. If you say that it's unfair, then you will start with this thing that Europeans are not looking at Indians in a good manner, because they were not unfair to me. They are unfair to a group of
Yeah,
people.
yeah, maybe
Uh,
that's not the right
but
word.
this is,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So,
more
and
like
this is
fate.
just because of security reasons.
Yeah,
So anyway, so that's not unfair. I wasn't. I was sad because I didn't get it. I didn't get a chance to go there.
yeah,
Likewise, I didn't get a chance to go to China as well, because I had a few interviews. I was shortlisted over there as well. I never got a chance to go there because I didn't get the visa.
yeah.
Were they unfair? I don't know, but I can't say that any of these countries are unfair to a person.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
I,
you may be saying it very politely and smoothly, but how did you even cope up with that? Because I remember you, and I remember all of us, in fact, as a even your batch, that how much efforts they were putting in each other's portfolio. What kind of mindset you had that you kind of took it in a positive way? Because maybe like something like that happened to me, and it was stupid, but it still impacted me for a kind of a longer time than you mentioned. What were you thinking?
uh, there were a lot of things happening during that time, so we didn't get a lot of time to think.
Yeah,
Because if I didn't get that internship because of some paperwork,
yeah,
there was someone else who was getting the internship at the same and not at the same place, but in the same country with the same documents.
yeah,
So we were always thinking that how the hell did he get it
yeah,
and not me? So we were trying to understand from that person that, okay, so these are the documents that you got. This is something that you spoke with the HR. Okay, I have to do the same thing. So we didn't get a lot of time to think. So one day I was in Mumbai to get a visa for China. 2 3 days I was back to Pune. I was getting some papers and I was going back to Germany to get the same visa for Germany.
yeah,
I know I was in Mumbai to get a
yeah,
visa
yeah,
for Germany.
yeah,
So so we didn't get a lot of time. When after everything happened, that's when I realized that shit, man, I didn't get a chance to go to these companies, which were amazing. And there was no option after that because I was already working for some other company and I was having a lot of fun over there,
yeah.
especially.
This is futuring design you're talking about.
Oh yes, futuring design. I didn't expect to be happy in Pune
Yeah,
because as a kid, I want to go to Europe and chill.
yeah,
So when that didn't happen,
yeah,
I was a little sad. But then I spoke to Chandru in futuring design. I got that internship. Uh, I was making bicycles, which sounded a little sad at
yeah,
that point of time. But when I realized that that cycle is going to be one of the most affordable performance bicycles in India, that got me excited. So I was working with carbon fiber. I was I was making molds. I was doing all those things. So that place was very interesting, especially working with Chandru, and
Yeah.
uh, it was interesting.
Yeah. You want to
And
talk about the process, like what you enjoyed the what made you
I don't.
enjoy the process so much?
Yeah, the fact that I could sketch, go to the studio, make it, sit with a guy who could do finite element analysis
Yeah.
to tell me that okay, this is one edge that you have to change. And the first learning that I got from my first internship, that radiuses matter, was taken forward over here. And here I got a learning that okay, if I change the radius, the stress is distributed in that area.
Wow.
That's when I realized that just saying that okay, I want something light and tough, and if I want something light and tough, I can just say that I want carbon fiber. In this place, I wanted to they taught me to understand how carbon fiber works. So let's say if I was making one part, there were 10 different patches of carbon fiber. So bidirectional or unidirectional or 12K fiber. So 12K or 8K or 2K is the strand that we have. So 12K means 12,000 strands and things like that. So this is how I learned how carbon fiber works. And this was interesting because I was challenged at every point of time because I didn't understand any of these things. I used to go back, try to make sure that I know something so that I sound confident the next day, but then I used to fail. So, so every day this was the same cycle. So I used to go back home, try to understand a few things, fail the next day, and try to make sure that I make sense the next day after that. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, uh, yeah, I remember. I think I kind of remember seeing the renders, and it was definitely intriguing. This was also the kind of first time you were on a place where it was getting built as you were designing it, and also learning the process. So yeah, was that the reason which made that internship very fun, much fun?
That was one of the reasons that made it fun for me. The fact that I if I sketch something, they're going to do some really crazy engineering shit back then because that I didn't understand any of those things. And they used to test everything on the software. I could see every of those calculations on the software. Then let's say in a week's time, I used to see the prototype. Then after that, there was also this excitement to see the 1:1 prototype one day, a working prototype,
Yeah.
which didn't happen when I was working there. It happened later in life. I think some of my bits were taken. I don't remember any. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Some of my bits were taken in that, but yeah, I remember when I came to college with my final thesis or whatever we say internship project. That was when I saw 1:1 scale prototype, and I was very excited with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you also want to talk about the competitions you had in college? And what do you think which one was your best? I can remember a lot of them. Which one was your favorite project you maybe did in college?
Oh, one of my
especially
I'm very happy to
competition or in general maybe.
So what do you mean by competition? Are you talking about
for design competition, design awards, and
okay,
or even your personal projects or long projects you want to talk about? I'm sure you had a really nice bunch of projects you did.
I hope those projects were nice, but yeah, I never competed in any of those competitions.
Yeah.
Like I said, I was not confident that I'm good enough, so I didn't want to fail,
Yeah.
or I didn't want to show that. uh, I didn't want to send my portfolio or my work to a place where I can get an internship later in life. So I didn't compete in any of these competitions when I was in college. Uh, yes, I had a few good long projects.
Yeah.
One of our long project was led by Ritain Gojia, one of are good friends.
Yeah.
Uh, that was in my second year.
He's a designer at
We
Ether,
got
right? If I'm
yeah,
getting it right.
yeah, yeah. He's a designer at the Ether right now, and yeah. So we, I think we did pretty good because it was for MZ, and before I got my internship in MZ, this was one product that we wanted to make as a show bike for the company,
Yeah. Oh.
to show it at EICMA and show it at. And the best part was that uh, after we finished the project, we got multiple awards. We got Red Dot, to name a few of them. I Design Award, A Design Awards, I don't know what not, but Red Dot was the best. So I remember that. That was one of my projects that I liked the most. Then there was again a project for MZ Motard where I was designing. Let's say I was. For me, it was a project where I designed how a person earns.
Yeah.
So this was a rickshaw. It was a vehicle that can be a rickshaw and a cart that can be used by the woman in a family to sell vegetables.
Yeah.
So that was one of the good projects that I worked on. And the final project that I loved was Kajiva.
Yeah.
So this was one project that I thought that. So this was one project where I was leading with Abu, and both of us, I think, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun because we weren't trying to compete. We were just having fun, listening to music, trying to understand what exactly this brand was all about. I love
Is this,
two-stroke motorcycles.
is this related to Xenofia design?
No, 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 no. It's not linked to Zenofia design.
Okay.
Uh, so this was one project that I wanted to do, and I proposed this to the university.
Yeah.
And again, the reason was two-stroke motorcycles. Kajiwa was known for two-stroke motorcycles. One of their iconic motorcycles was Mito, and I wanted to design the new Mito,
Yeah.
a 400cc Mito. Yeah, so that was one of my favorite projects that I did back in school.
All right. So, what were the what made Kajiva the your best kind of your best project? What was it, or even the one you got a lot of awards in? Was it the creativity process, or maybe the kind of result you came up with, or the overall thing? Because sometimes maybe
I
a
think that
project is special to you, maybe when the results are nice, and or sometimes maybe some phase of that process is helps you to get better. What was it for you?
I think that this might sound a little philosophical. Like, I think for both of these projects, actually, for any of these projects, we didn't know what the final result was.
Yeah.
So we really stick to the process. That let's not freeze on what we have to make. So let's say with MZ Motard, the show bike, we didn't wanted to make a show bike. We were just trying to understand what is that product that we can make for that bank, for that brand, and that research was really amazing to understand the brand. So
Yeah.
in any of these projects, understanding a certain brand and the market, and coming up with the idea that will make sure that sells later, if we try to come up with that later in life, was interesting. That's why I think even Kajiva was interesting, especially because it was a very iconic brand.
Yeah.
The fact that they owned MV Agusta at once, and then because of strategical reasons, because MV was way bigger as a brand and Kajiva was making small motorcycles, they had to change the hierarchy of the motorcycles,
Yeah.
of the brand. That was interesting for me.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I remember seeing the Kajiva's sketchboard, which was all over the wall. I think you print you took a very big print and you kind of stuck it on the wall, which was definitely very inspiring for all of us who were kind of working on one or the other project. I remember going in a bunch and looking at that sketchboard. That I'll try to add the link to the description if the listeners can maybe have it a look. Is it up there, or you've taken it down? Can I find it somewhere? I'm sure it's there. It should be.
I doubt it, because I have taken all my work off from internet, because I am getting a little embarrassed of all my college work, because I mean, yeah, I think it happens when you start looking back at your own work, old work. You get a little embarrassed at how the fuck did I manage to do something that shitty.
Or maybe I think it can be a good thing also, where you can like have a look back and
see the growth. Yeah.
So for a lot of people it works like that. But yeah, I think it's still, I think whatever you think of that project, it was definitely a visual pleasure for us who were kind of learning. Akshay, you kind of uh, took us through your journey, and what were the things maybe was working right for you. What is your creative process? What makes you different or like unique from a maybe generic creative design process? Or what is your creative process? You think your approach of design towards design?
Okay, so if I am working, let's say on a new project, I will definitely watch a lot of videos. I will watch a lot of videos to understand what that segment or that product is trying to convey, what vibe it has. And so I usually start with videos and movies after finishing. So if let's say if I'm working over here, I will go home, I will watch a lot of videos about that product or that segment. That's how I start to get into the mood of that project. Then definitely cliches like making mood boards and things like that. Everyone knows about that, but I stick to it.
Yeah,
I stick to it because that gets me in a mood of making that product. These are a few things that I will never skip. I think I would want to be Amir Khan of this area, because I believe in getting the front foot wala defense right, like Sachin Tendulkar. I have to make sure that all these things are taken care of.
Basically. Yeah.
Sticking to the basics, making sure that you have a lot of arsenal, you have a lot of weapons, armor, and a lot of bullets with you, so that if there are certain doubts later during the project. So that's why I do a lot of analysis. Creativity, may sketch a lot. There is no other option, because for me, I think I struggle a lot with aesthetics.
Yeah.
I make sure that things will work in a way, but yeah. So to solve this problem, I go back to my arsenal, to my go down, and look for a lot of weapons and a lot of bullets. Come back, and those bullets and weapons are my mood boards, creativity board, and things like that. Come back and start sketching. I sketch a lot. I try to sketch a lot.
do you
yeah,
think,
that's my.
Yeah. Do you think in 2021 that is one skill you should have to become a motorcycle designer?
That is one skill that any designer should have.
Yeah, or even like if you want to be a maybe an industrial designer or a motorcycle designer in 2021, what do you think are the short traits you should have?
Definitely, you should know how to 3D model. That is one thing that any designer, be it a product designer, car designer, motorcycle designer, everyone should know how to 3D model. If you know how to 3D model, you understand surfaces, you understand intersections, you understand nodes, and all these things.
Yeah.
So this is one thing that every designer should know right now in the 21st century, or now in 2021.
Yeah.
That is one thing which is very important. Definitely, a lot of new studios are coming up with VR and things like that, but that comes later in life. Maybe in the next decade, people will talk about VR. But right now, everyone should know 3D. Everyone should know how to ideate in 3D directly after you have a quick sketch on paper. Photoshop and all will be helpful if you have a 3D modeler with you to convey your ideas.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a 3D modeler, I think designers right now should just get something on paper, which is very important. So you can't go ahead without that. Sketch something on paper, make blueprints on Illustrator of that design, and get to 3D directly.
Yeah.
So this is one skill that everyone should have right now.
Yeah. And now going through the trajectory of your career, let's talk about the story of Ducati and how did it work.
It's a very interesting story, or something that happened when I was in Chennai. So I was working in Royal Enfield for a very short stint.
Yeah. How was your experience there? Considering you had a different style than maybe Royal, the kind of brand had.
I don't know. It was interesting, a little tricky, a little difficult at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I think that when I left that place, I was very happy. I was very happy that not because I left it, I was happy that I was there. And the Chennai was amazing. Royal Enfield was amazing. Learned a lot. And when I was working there, I got, let's say, an offer from Ducati. I didn't want to miss it. Yeah. So I just left. I finished my project before my end date. So I had to finish my internship, my trainee period. In 6 months, I finished all my work. In 4 months, I left because I had to get my visa for Ducati, for Italy.
Yeah.
And which didn't happen again. So this was a full circle after that big old German brand. Again, for this brand, I was in Pune for 9 months to get things sorted out for the visa. It didn't happen.
That's a long.
Finally, when it happened, it was a long wait. I was, that was a good time also because I got in touch with. So during that time, I was away from design. I wasn't doing anything because I was like, maybe next month I'll get the visa. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
This happened for 9 months. So I was not sketching. I was not doing any first 3 months. Then I went back to DSK. I started interacting with a few students and did some masterclass and did some projects with them. So that was interesting because
you were teaching the basics foundation year.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to teach them.
Yeah. And what's your take on teaching, bro? I'm really interested. Do you enjoy it?
I love. I wouldn't say teaching, but
sharing.
I know that I can't teach. That sounds a little philosophical and you know that you are teaching, but it sounds a little difficult because even
it's also a learning for you.
When I teach, that sounds cliche again, but when I'm trying to make sure that they understand. So I used to teach the process.
Yeah.
And I used to be surprised at what all things that they have got from the process. So if they are working for a brand that I haven't worked for, so whatever the research gets, so if we get the requirement sheet, I used to be surprised, shit, we can do this. So let's do this. Wow. So that was how I used to work. So I used to teach them the process of getting the analysis right.
Yeah.
Creativity, sketching and all these things was already taken care by other guys like Mandar or George at that point of time.
Yeah.
But I knew how to. I used to try to make sure that they take the right route from the analysis phase.
Yeah.
But teaching was fun because even now, if I get a chance to go back to school and interact with kids, it will be so amazing because kids have very crazy ideas. Like I had very crazy ideas, and I know that those ideas won't work right now unless you have someone experienced enough to take care of you during that time. Yeah, teaching is amazing.
Yeah.
We can have a lot of fun, play music,
So I think you also kind of had a nice reflection while you were maybe waiting for the visa to happen, by teaching. And also, how do you think music has affected you as a designer or impacted you as a designer? Considering that all of us were kind of grooving on same tunes, and it also kind of given us a space to be on a space where, okay, we were kind of taking kind of a safe space, right, because of the music. How do you think it impacted you as a designer, or if it in any way affected you?
Music, I think that it doesn't impact me as a designer because it is always a uh, like a
Yeah,
hindrance. So if I'm
those who doesn't know that Pardeshi used to play in clubs, and and I've seen you playing, and like playing some really crazy tunes in our college fest, and also in the club. So definitely that's also kind of a thing which you have inside you, right? And lately also you've been kind of playing live online.
Yeah, so right now, I think that okay, so yeah, this started because of my parents, my mom's liking towards music. So I
Oh,
used to play tabla. I used to sing in the choir. I used to do a lot of things around music. Then seventh standard was the first time that I got in touch with a proper console, and I started playing then. Then we got softwares, things like that. But right now, I think that music is a hindrance because when I think about music, I stop thinking about design. So I
yeah.
make sure that I'm not thinking about the music during my week.
Yeah.
And again, we can connect the dots and go back to the thing that Mario said once, that if you want to be a DJ, just be a DJ. Stop designing. And that's one thing that I still stick to. That during the weekday, I'm not listening to music. If I'm listening to music, I will listen to a lot of old '90s Govinda music. Jहाँ पर I don't have to DJ anything. You just have to vibe
That's
and have fun.
yeah, that's a very unique kind of an approach, I think. Yeah, definitely have to have that passion towards what you're doing, because otherwise I
Yeah.
really can't imagine how can you make it work. Um, so yeah, we were actually talking about your journey to Ducati, and how, okay, it's this question that I ask almost everyone in the podcast, and it can be maybe a little hard one for you. What do you think is going wrong in the Indian design industry, and how it is different in maybe European industry?
Yeah, this is a very tough question. A very tough question, and
This is
I'm
also
not
a
equipped
question
to
that
answer.
yeah, I mean, this is also
Uh,
the question I've got from people when I've mentioned that, okay, I'll be interviewing people like you and Swati. I've asked the same question to Swati also. What do you think about it, or do you think you want me to frame it in any other way?
uh, no, I think I got the question, but again, I'll say that this question is a little tricky.
Yeah,
Looking back at my experience in design, I'm still a very young designer with
yeah,
not a lot of experience. It's a very tricky question, but from what I understand, I would say that Indian design is still not Indian. It's still trying to be European American and Japanese at some point of time. When we look back to Indian products, we can't say that, okay, this is Indian.
yeah,
So some projects will look like a German product, or some projects will look like a Italian product. So I think that as Indian designers, when we go back, let's say in 20 years, 30 years, when we go back to India, we have to make sure that there is an identity, an Indian identity.
yeah,
And that Indian identity is because of the Indian culture that we have. Right now, what we're doing is we're trying to, let's say, very harsh, but we're trying to copy the European market or the American market.
yeah.
So this is one thing that is lacking in the Indian design community, which is a little sad. But yeah, that is my perception that this is happening. in India right now.
And do you,
I
yeah,
I think this might be wrong for a lot of people who are there
yeah,
and they are trying to change the industry.
yeah,
But whatever they are trying to do, I think that'll come out later.
yeah,
I'm not in their company, so I don't know what's happening.
yeah.
Definitely, a lot of big guys in India are trying to make a lot of changes. But yeah, I still have to see it. But this is my perception.
Yeah. And do you think that I think we keep talking about this subject that okay, that maybe that industrial design revolution is happening in India right now as we speak. Do you think that's happening, or we still have some time to kind of unleash ourselves, our country, in a way to kind of put ourselves out there in the design industry? Do you think that revolution is happening, or there's still time?
That revolution is definitely happening. It was happening earlier also, but at a very small scale. And
Yeah.
why at a very small scale? That was because only a few OEMs were uh, they had studios, or they were considering to give importance to design.
Yeah.
But right now, because of startups, a lot of companies they hire designers, and this is one reason that they understand the importance of design. And yes, there is a huge uproar. People are respecting design a lot in India right now. It will still take time to get at par with the European design industry, but this is definitely happening, and it'll be very surprising to see. And I'll be very happy to see that in next decade. I hope so. I think that this will happen. Indian design industry will be way bigger than the European design industry or American design industry.
Wow, I hope that happens.
Uh,
I really hope that.
that'll happen. So this is my uh, this is my understanding. Looking at the number of new brands that are coming up. So if there are new brands that are coming up in the country, there will definitely be competition. If there is competition, there will be a proper growth in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you answered the question pretty well, Akshay. And how is it different? Maybe working in Italy. I'm sure you must be that maybe your style has right now maybe influence towards Italian design, or do you think you still have space to kind of do something on your own, in terms of maybe getting that personality into the concepts you make, or maybe it doesn't matter at all?
Uh, yes, I think that I'm still trying to understand Italian design. I love it. The fact that I did that Kajiva project in school, that was because I wanted to be an Italian brand. I'm still trying to understand properly. No one will ever understand what exactly Italian designers or French designers or what Indian designers. Everyone will try to understand or try to portray or show their understanding about a certain design segment.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I hope no, but if I get out of this place, I have to adapt to a new company and a new culture.
Yeah.
So I think that I'm already ready to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that shouldn't be a big trouble. If you get out of a place, it should take. That depends on the experience, also, I guess.
Yeah.
For a young designer like me, if I get out of a country like this, to get into a new country, it will take, let's say, 6-7 months to get into that into the groove, to
Yeah.
adapting to the culture and understanding design and how things work in that country, that company. But yeah, I think for experienced guys, it's in a snap. They just get into that game and they excel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very well put, Akshay. I mean, as you said that you're still kind of learning the kind of a culture which is involved in the in Ducati per se. How do you deal with the feedbacks? I mean, when like even throughout your college, even throughout your college journey, and like as a professional journey, what do you think is the best approach to kind of handle feedbacks? Because I think this is again one of those things which maybe nobody talks about, right? Because eventually you get better, and you generate better ideas when you have maybe not just have feedbacks but also kind of dealing with the feedbacks. And how do you think you should take the feedbacks in order to get better, not just as a professional but also as a student, maybe for people who are listening?
Oh, okay. I think that this is something that we used to face a lot as students. Uh, Once you have people or the jury criticizing you or giving you feedbacks, it's very important to understand that there is a proper, let's say, there is a timeline that you have to follow.
Yeah.
If the criticism or the feedback will put you on a track that you'll be late to deliver,
Yeah.
don't consider it. If it's so important that you have to do it, or without that you're going to fail as in the project is going to fail,
Yeah.
sit over hours and try to match or try to stick to the feedbacks and try to understand. Everything starts where, so first of all you have to understand what that criticism is or what that feedback is it impacting the design? When I say design, is it impacting the business, or is it impacting the usability of the product, or is it just styling?
Yeah.
If it's styling, you have some extra time, sit on it, sketch, render, do whatever you want to do. If it's impacting the business, if it's impacting the usability or how the product works, you have to work on it.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, you have to make sure that if you have hundreds of ideas, if you yourself, uh, you tend to criticize your design, you should know where you have to stop. Because again, everything boils down to one thing, that is how you deliver your project, how you do your final presentation. That's when you have to understand that, okay, it's time, let's develop it. Because you can ideate till the last moment. Even after you do the final presentation, you can still say that, no, this is not working. I still have good ideas. So I think that criticism, feedbacks, you have to उसको हिंदी में छानना बोलते हैं ना, तो you have to filter it.
Yeah.
And understand what is good for you right now.
Yeah.
All feedbacks are good, because whenever people say something, they say something because they can see that this is a place that you can let's say improve. But for the project, I think feedback is important, but you have to link it or understand the timeline of the project also. If you can deliver with those feedbacks on time, then that feedback is good. Or that feedback is not good. Even the person who's giving you feedback should understand that ye timeline hai. So is this possible? If it's not possible, don't give that feedback. Don't depress that person.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, that is something which is not in our control. And so yeah, another hot question I've got from our friends and listeners: how to get a job in Ducati?
Oh, I wish I could answer that question, because I still understand. I still don't understand how I got this job.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, I really wasn't focusing at Ducati, because I knew that I will never land this job. And I'm being very honest right now. I was working in small companies. I was making products. I was doing whatever I could do. In a way, I could say that I was lucky.
Yeah.
But then when we have to stop thinking about luck and all these things, and we have to make sure that things, we talk about tangible things. Just be if you have to be in the motorcycle industry, make sure that you're good at sketching for sure. All designers should be good at sketching, rendering, things like that. But understanding technical bits is so much important that you can't imagine.
Yeah.
So when I say technical bits, no one wants you to understand how the engine works, but you should know how the engine works plus how it impacts the design.
Yeah.
So how the technical bits impact the aesthetical bit of the design is very important, and this is something that all motorcycle designers should know.
And do you think that
Again, I think I dodge your question,
yeah,
but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know
yeah,
how to land a job at Ducati. But this is something that if you do, you can land a job anywhere in any of these big design studios.
yeah, definitely. I think yeah, again, this is also something that nobody talks about, because I think as a student we just want to see from fancy renders and whatever which looks kind of nice,
Exactly.
but maybe yeah, in order to maybe get that one big leap, or to go into that one brand, you have to of course educate yourself. And do you think this knowing these technicalities also given you some edge towards the others?
Yeah, I used to think that it gave me a lot of edge in college, but when I got in here, I was a little surprised because I was still lacking a lot of technical
Yeah.
knowledge. And
Because of maybe because of the brand you are in, maybe because of the rich history they have.
no, it's not about that.
Yeah.
I think that if you get into the industry, this definitely happens because you're trying to talk about a surface or XYZ to people who are working in that industry for 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
So you are already outdated, right? Coming out of the university, you have crazy ideas, but you don't understand basics.
Yeah.
So you're already outdated. So you're not outdated because of the ideas that you have. You're outdated because of lack of knowledge that this is what happens because of physics, and this is what happens because of the technological advancement in the manufacturing industry, in the engineering industry.
And do you think in order to make that information better, you should ask questions to right people?
Oh yeah. This is something that every parents tell us: "Ki, don't be shy, ask questions." So yeah, that's
Maybe
yeah.
not all, maybe not all parents, I think, because again, asking questions is always tough, but yeah, we never realize the power of maybe getting those right answers, right? Maybe to
Oh,
the
yeah.
wrong question is also
Again,
like,
chalni.
yeah, when I say that, it applies to me, because I've always kind of shy asking questions, and it impacted me in a lot of ways. um so yeah, Akshay, so how, like, I'm sure, right, I'm sure you've been answering these questions and maybe sharing about your journey so smoothly, and it sounds like you had it easy or something. But what
Oh my
what
God.
actually keeps you I'm sure it's really intense, and you have to have like really good have to be really disciplined. But I'm sure, what kind of keeps you motivated towards going forward, like basic emotional maybe approach, or maybe playing a sport, or anything like that. What do you think, what keeps you motivated to be that high level creative you are?
I have so cricket keeps me motivated.
Oh, yes.
News about cricket keeps me motivated. Virat Kohli stepping down from the captaincy kept me motivated. That how the fuck did this happen? So yeah, cricket keeps me motivated. Mu- uh, to an extent, music keeps me motivated. Right now, politics is keeping me. So it's not linked. But then,
No,
if I follow politics, I understand business and
not going
stocks
so
and all
good, to
these
be
things.
honest, right?
Yeah, I know. I think that you should have a different podcast to talk about
Yeah.
politics, and I'll be a part of it. But yeah, these are few things that if I have to stop thinking about my work, I go back to these things.
Yeah.
I think about I follow cricket, I follow music, I watch a lot of movies,
Yeah.
and yeah, these are some things that keep me motivated or keep my creative side is still active because of all these things that is happening, apart from design, apart from work.
Yeah. Oh wow. Definitely. It's a really, I'm sure, yeah, I'm a person who also loves aesthetics, and I can imagine how much it can be important to generate ideas. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's leading us to our last question, Akshay. What are your future endeavors? What's coming up? Where do you, I'm gonna ask you that cliche question, maybe where do you see yourself in next 10 years or 5 years, or what's that you maybe want to get better at, or tell us about your what's happening.
Okay. Now I think that I'll take a 5 minute pause and I will answer this question because even I have to think about my next 5 years.
Yeah.
So, tick tick one, tick tick two, 5 minutes ho jayenge. And okay, so what do I do? What do I want to do after 5 years? I definitely want to have one is to one scale model, uh, a working prototype in India.
Yeah.
So this is something that I want. Apart from that, I think that I'll still be at Ducati. Hopefully,
Yeah.
uh, work wise, I can't share much. But
Yeah.
after work, I think that I want to do. I want to make short movies. I want to write stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are a few things that I want to do in the next 5 years. I'm sorry if I don't give you any mal masala, any juices. Like
No, I don't need any mal masala. I mean, um, uh, also, how's your stay in Italy? I'm sure you've been traveling a lot lately since the pandemic got a little lightened up. How do you think the culture is impacting you?
culture is definitely impacting me, and uh,
I
I
can see you
always say this. I
recently.
think
You just shifted to a new place. Looks
yes, I
really lush.
shifted to a new place. I was closer to Ducati, which is away from the city, away from downtown. But I shifted to the city right now. Uh, I feel a little young. I think that I was feeling that I was a little old. I'm still old, but uh, right now I'm feeling a little young. Coming
Because
back
of
to
your
the city,
neighborhood.
yes, definitely because of that. Because when I used to think that I have to sleep when I was away from the city, I think that's the time when the city wakes up during the weekend
Wow.
right now. So let's say at around 11, 12,
Yeah.
everything is pretty lit.
Awesome.
And yeah, the place is definitely impacting. I think that a lot of Italians will get a little offended, but I feel that Italy is like the cleaner version of India.
Why would you
So
say that?
people are passionate. Like Indians are passionate about everything. Italians are very passionate about everything. Lovely people, but India is a little dirty.
Yeah.
So this is one thing that is
Also
lacking in
populous,
India.
maybe.
Maybe that is one reason that India is dirty,
Yeah.
but it's as lovely as India.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's amazing.
Awesome, Akshay. I think we really had like I'm really stoked to have had this conversation, and thanks for doing this. I know how much time it took you to kind of get to the stream, and definitely it was amazing to have a chat, have that deep chat about design. So thanks a lot for doing this, Akshay.
Thank you, Q. I was really very excited to get on this chat with you.
Yeah.
Sadly, it took a lot of time. I think a few months, but
Yeah.
I'm still very happy that we got a chance to do this, and
Yeah.
I'm very happy that you're doing this. I love your podcast,
Awesome.
and yeah,
Thanks a lot.
I'm waiting for some good things coming up to your podcast after this.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
best of luck.
Yes. All right, Akshay. I see you on the other side. Peace out.
Okay. Yes. Peace out. Yes, for sure.